Well, good morning, everybody. Um, Today's video is going to be a little different. I don't think we're going to be talking about fishing, but a little deep for me. So let's watch the intro. All right. Yeah, I was watching some YouTube videos and people's reaction to Elvis Presley's In the Ghetto. Yeah, everybody thinks of Elvis Presley with his swiveling hips and his rock and roll. But In the Ghetto was really a deep felt song. Well written too, only 2 minutes long. And people's reaction was, sobering. What y'all don't know about me, and it's been years since I made a video about my background. Raised by a woman who was left by her husband after 19 years marriage for him to play around with other women. I was 4 years old when I watched my daddy leave. It's my first memory. I hung onto his leg, begging, crying. I watched him pack his suitcase, and I watched him walk out that door. Mama never graduated the 7th grade, raised in a mafia family. She was in street gangs in Detroit. She was tough as nails. She knew how to survive. And she took all those street smarts to raise her 4 children. And my sisters, they left at 17. They're 8 and 9 years older than me. So she was pretty much raising 2 boys. My younger brother and me. All by herself. Mama worked as a bartender 7 nights a week. And a clerk at a toy store during the day. My mama died it's been 23 years. 23 years. This week. When she died, my oldest, actually, the only child I had, was 6 months old. There's so much of my mama that I wish I knew. And so I knew of my family because my father had died years prior to that too. We don't live long in my family. So I sat down and for Rebecca, because she was our only child at the time, I wrote a book. It's an autobiography taking place while I was surfing. Sort of triggers to memories and bounces back and forth from present to past about my childhood. And the book is called Finding Paradise, A Lifelong Journey. And there's my mama. She was a bartender. There's a place called the Scoreboard. Although I remember her spending a lot of time as a bartender at the American Legion in my hometown. And all those veterans are sort of like surrogate fathers to me. We have choices in life. My little brother is a year younger. Chose one route. I chose another route. raised 1 year apart by the same mother in the same circumstances. We have choices. Now, the book's title is called Finding Paradise. And you would think, being raised by my mama, in the conditions we were, being evicted all the time, moving from home to home, in a little town on the coast of California, we would, things were stacked against us. And they were. I had to be smart and tough. Nick, my little brother, tried to just be tough, not too smart. You guys know my health problems. I've fought off death this last decade like crazy. So I wrote the book. I have 2 other kids now. They're almost all adults. I wanted to leave a legacy. So I wrote the book. It's got pictures of me growing up. And it's just fun stories. Yeah, there's my little brother and me. He's behind me there in that picture. And me and my orange crate. Super cool bike. And the book is filled with nothing but good memories. Look at that hair. Oh my God. That's high school. Yeah, we had big hair back in the 70s. And this mom being so proud of me. And that award, actually, you talk about Finding Paradise here. I was invited as a teenager to attend this American Legion gathering of recognizing youth programs. I was a commander of the Sons of the American Legion. I was also held a state office for the SAL. And I didn't know. I mean, they had, boys town and girls town and whatnot. I mean, they had other people there, other kids, teenagers. And they go up there and they give speeches and they get these trophies. Well, I didn't know I was going to get a trophy. I didn't even know I was going to go up on stage. So they invite me up on stage to give me this trophy. And mind you, I was 16 years old. And they go, give me the mic. And they asked me to give a speech. I didn't know what to say, really. Except why the Sons of the American Legion exist. And most people have never heard of it. You probably never heard of the Sons of the American Legion. So I gave a talk of why the SAL exists. Because we hope for a world without war. And if indeed we have a world without war, veterans would die off. And the SAL would continue to exist to keep the memory alive of what those veterans did and to secure a world without war. So in my speech, ironically, I hoped that the American Legion would cease to exist. Because we all want a world without war. Well, after I finished the speech, everybody in the auditorium stood up and applauded me. Now, totally spontaneous. I mean, my speech was, and so was their reaction. The smart kids that got their awards, I'm a street kid. They didn't get that response. My mama was so proud of me. So she never takes a picture, so you saw the picture. She was very proud of me. We live in a world that's got nothing but war right now. Hate, animosity, prejudice, sensitivities. I was raised by a Sicilian woman. She was raised in a mafia family who runs Detroit. And I chose a path of not least resistance. Some of you know I'm pretty religious. Finding paradise was finding God. I know. Some of you probably think this part is kind of corny, but the Bible does talk about no war, peaceful earth, paradise. Thus, it's not a religious book, but finding paradise is where we're all seeking for. We want a world without crime, without war, happy families. We all want it. We all want to find paradise. But it's our choice through our journeys that we either find it or we don't. I had 3 great kids, fantastic wife, and even up to this moment I have had a great life, despite my health issues, my raising, the challenges. I know, it's kind of a deep video, isn't it? But you know, when I go fishing, we'll get back on fishing. When I go fishing, I sit out on waters like this, in the picture behind me, and you find paradise. At that moment in time, the water is still. The birds above you, the echoes in the trees, children laughing on the shoreline. For a moment, for an hour, 2, a whole day, you find paradise. There's no war here. It's just peace. Fishing is an escape. It's not a solution. Fishing is therapy, not a healing. But it's a piece of the healing, isn't it? I want to thank you guys. You've given this little boy that grew up with odds against him in a little town. And yeah, I got in trouble. I learned how to fight. And I got in lots of fights growing up. I tried to talk myself out. I probably talked out of most of my fights because I would tell the guy, I go, look, you're going to get hurt. I go, you may win, but I go, you're going away bloody. So I go, I may lose. I go, but I ain't losing without some victories. One time I was beat up so bad by 3 people in my front yard. They left me unconscious. They beat me until I was unconscious. I went to my friend's house, Punkish. There were footprints on my back. They'd kicked me and kicked me. We had street racing, cruising, fighting. Lompoc was a nice town, but you're on the wrong side of the tracks in any town. You're going to have to be tough. Yeah. One thing Mom taught me was to be tough and to show consideration. I know it sounds like they are diametrically opposed, but that's what she taught. And it worked out for me. Well, for my little brother, not so much. He chose to be tough instead of showing consideration. It is a path that you choose. We are not victims of our circumstances. We choose to listen. We choose to learn certain things. One can take a track to one destination, leaving from the same spot, and another one to another destination. Fishing is... I've written a lot of books. This book, I really wrote for my kids. So they would know if indeed I died. And mind you, 9 years ago, I was on life support. The book was written. I knew my children could read it, and even though my youngest would barely remember me, she would know what kind of man I was and how I chose to live. People wonder why I give so much. I'm dressed up a little bit today because I'm going to go out and volunteer my services in the community. And why I give so much at the lake and why I volunteer so much. It's because I hope that even the little things I do for the people around me, they take the lesson and they choose to live it. Despite all the challenges, I have had a great life. I wouldn't change any of it, except for my brother. I would hope I could have influenced him better. But as an older brother and younger brother, probably just one of those things. It's one of those sibling relationships. So, but anyway, I know, it's sort of a deep video. But you get to choose. That's a good thing. Don't be a victim. Finding Paradise. That was a good title for that book. Because it's people. And I always tell my children this. People make life better. So, learn from people. Accept their point of views. Don't push your point of view on them. Accept it. You don't have to agree with it. You can go ahead and have differences. That's the beautiful thing about, diversity. Diversity enriches. But, you learn something from people, no matter what their point of views are. And I surround myself with different points of views. And people know what kind of person I am. And the nice thing is, the people who accept me for what I am, they know I accept them for who they are. And we live. We go fishing. We joke without offense. We just enjoy each other. People from my generation know how to do this. Unfortunately, nowadays, everybody's so quick to offend, or to be offended. I say things, I don't mean offensive. I don't mean to be offensive. I'm just me. If you want me to accept you for you, great. Accept me for me. Reciprocate it. We can go fishing. Hey, we'll have fun. We'll joke, laugh. That's it. I don't know. Why did I make this video? Maybe the song In the Ghetto actually sort of struck a chord with me. Because even though we didn't have a ghetto in Lompoc, a ghetto can mean a state of being. And I guess I was raised in a ghetto. Tough town. Lompoc was a tough town back then. Probably still is. I don't know. It's been 40 years. Anyway. Thank you. And I'll just leave it with a funny outro. And off we go. Take care, everybody.